questions over multiple social media accounts regarding the taillight selection that I did and what was involved in swapping them, because the Hurricane Cobra, at least in the version that I ordered, came stock with the cutouts for the square or rectangular, or what I call them, the coffin shaped tail lights, and I preferred the Lucas model, which was the twin round ones on either side. A couple of questions that people had on those, and I'm going to post pictures of both of those real quick right here to show you the difference between the two. I had some people question, first of all, what the difference between the two was, what the specifics were, and the information out there is a little bit varied. Some people have stated that they did the switch from the square tail lights to the Lucas version for safety's sake, because the round ones were larger and brighter and were safer as a result versus the small square ones. But I've actually done some research on this, and let me read to you exactly what the official word is from some of the Shelby sites that I've seen. This is a post from 2005, way back in 2005. Let me read this to you. It says, the square taillights date back to the first generation of Cobra. They are the taillight assembly from the Hillman Minx. They were used throughout the CSX 2000 series, which were the original 260, 289 versions starting in 1962, and into the CSX 3000 series. All 427 competition and semi-competition models had the square tail lights. The first 100 street 427s, now the street 427 is what I am modeling mine after. The first 100 street 427s had the square lamps. It has been said that they were switched to the round style due to unavailability of the squares. The cutover was done at CSX 3200, meaning that the last 160 cars had the round tail lights. Now, depending on who the manufacturer of the replica that you buy is, will determine which they actually use. I know for a fact Factory 5 goes with the Lucas style. ERA, I think there's an option between the two. Hurricane originally was, they had the street version and the competition version, and they offered both depending on which model of Cobra you bought. But considering mine was the second to last serial number out of the Iowa factory before they sold to the current owners in Indiana, and mine was actually the last body built and the last one out. I've addressed in the past how, while mine's not the last serial number, it's the last car, and I'll touch on that again here in just a moment. Mine was the last body built out at the time when there was one employee left and they were finishing things up. My car was ordered about 3 months before the sale of the company and was in progress when the company sold, so they basically rushed through and got the body done and sent it out. The reason mine is not the latest serial number is I think HM2039 is the one right after mine, and I've actually talked to the gentleman who owns that, very cool guy. Mine is 2038. My original order specified mine was going to be HM2040. The company sold, and Alex, who was on his final days working there, was finishing things up. They were still trying to get the welder to come in and start the construction of my chassis and things like that. Now, Alex, out of the blue, about 2 months after ordering my Cobra, called me and said, hey, we've got this chassis here. It's a stage 1 chassis, which means a lot of the work on the chassis had already been done. It's an option that they offered where if you ordered a stage 1 chassis, they came with the suspension already bolted up, and a lot of the preliminary first assembly stages were already done on the chassis. He says, I've got this one done. The guy left a $10,000 deposit and he's disappeared. We can't find him. Would you like this one? He said, I will sell you this one for the same deal that we did on your chassis. You'll get it months earlier, as well as it will be a stage 1 versus a raw chassis that I have to start all over again. Well, considering the fact that he was offering me the deal that he did for the same price with all the extra options and everything, of course I said, and the biggest thing was I was going to be getting it earlier, so of course I immediately said, yeah, send it to me. Let's take care of it. So that's why I ended up with the 2038 chassis as opposed to the 2040 chassis. That was a chassis that was already built, sitting in the factory, waiting on this other guy who never showed up and disappeared. And the 2039 chassis in the interim between those two periods was built and sent out. So the 2039 chassis was delivered before mine was. So while mine's not the last serial number, it is the last one that left the Iowa factory. That's neither here nor there. Back to the tail lights. I'm going to show some archival footage from previous videos that I've done to show what I had to do to do the conversion and what they look like as of today. I hope you enjoy it.
Getting ready to do some fiberglass work, probably because I have decided to switch gears on one small detail on the car. As I've touched on before, the Cobra that I'm building is going to be modeled after the street version of the Cobras, which is specific, no side pipes, no roll bar, things like that. One of the things on the street Cobra, since they were of the later vintage, 65 and 66, they had the Lucas twin circle taillights on each side of the car as opposed to the earlier versions, which had a small square taillight. If I understand correctly, the earlier Cobras used the square taillights, and I'm going to show you some pictures of that as we go through this, the difference between the two. They used the square taillights originally and switched over to the others because the others you could see a lot better. They were bigger and much more prominent. And I personally like the way they look a little bit better. The safety feature, of course, is something else. Plus, it's correct to the street Cobras. So I think I'm going to go that route, but it has caused a complication on something that I do have to take care of. Let me show you what I mean. This Hurricane Cobra is already cut for the square taillights. The round taillights, of course, go here and here, and they don't need this big thing in the center, which is where the square taillights sit. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come in here, glass over these holes and finish them flat, and then re-drill for the two taillights. So let's get started. Okay, it looks like weather's coming, so I had to stop. I've got this roughed in with fiberglass now. Come over this with some what is called kitty hair, which is fiberglass, long strand fiberglass reinforced filler. Got that one smoothed out. Got this one pretty smoothed out as well. That one's a little bit rougher, probably have a little more sanding on it. I've got this sanded back here. Got those edges taken care of here. Got this sanded down here flat. All I've got to do is come in here with some filler, flatten that out, and the same on this side. And then I come in here and drill my holes for my new tail lights. And of course, you saw in the earlier video, I've got the tail lights roughed in as well. So the next step is to spread some filler. Okay, these are mocked up and in place, good to go. Line up real nice. I just like this better than the square tail lights. They're bigger, they're brighter, they show better, and let's face it, these cars are small enough and people are going to miss them anyway without having dim tail lights. So I think I like this a lot better. Quite happy with how this turned out.
See, that was a very involved process, but well worth it in my opinion for my own personal taste. Of course, the wonderful thing about building cars is you can build them to your own personal taste. As you can see, I've got a visitor there that's OB, and right now I've got a golden retriever sleeping on my foot. But what I'm going to show you now, of course, is what was at the front end of this video, which is where we are as of this morning. The new tail lights are in. The wiring is done. Everything works perfectly. And I like the looks a lot better. Just to throw this out there, anyone building a Cobra, I do have the square taillights. If you can find some, reach out to me. I'd be happy to move those along, let you have them for a fair price if you want them. I am absolutely not going to use them. Quite happy with the Lucas ones that I've got. Hope you enjoyed this little segment. Hope it wasn't too wordy. I do have a tendency to talk just a little bit, but you know, that's the nature of things. Be sure and stay tuned. Got a video coming up in a couple of days addressing another Street Cobra feature, which is the front nose splitter to give the grill a little bit of a breakup. Most of the Cobra replicas you see have the open grill or have a makeshift grill put into place. I have searched long and hard and finally came up with a source for the actual splitter, which I'll show a picture of here. I think you'll find that informative as well. Please be sure and hit